to orient yourself purely in a reality which is obviously fleeting and temporary is to inevitably feel a loss, a grief. Perceived resources that we have in this finite time obviously will feel taken from thee anytime they don't appear in the way that one has told themselves is sustainable and safe. And of course, when anyone takes some sort of action within that societal shame that gets them to believe that they could have done better, those vain thoughts will only lead to regret. I know that I cannot change the past. Firstly, I know the past does not even exist. There is no grounding of a linear narrative when this body is gonna die to the extent of your awareness. If you're gonna die to the extent of your awareness, what was linear time other than some sort of fleeting liquid memory within the body which you had the responsibility and authority to reconfigure, to alchemize, to sit with that inner child, which is just the nervous system to the extent of its awareness and capacity. The inner child is the nervous system, all the unmet needs, all the places in which its energy that was meant to be expressed was repressed is held within this body. Emotional memory, however you want to put it, this is baseline 101. And we bridge this into the understanding of the human animal. The basal ganglia is the part of the brain that governs survival. Perceived resources and safety, pattern recognition, hypervigilance, which is directly and actively feeding you the narratives of which you believe yourself to be in this mirage that you call life at this active moment. What does the human intellect do when it perceives a lost resource? And there's nobody to blame but itself. What does the human do when it makes a mistake and it renders an outcome that it knew could have been prevented or wasn't preferred? It turns in on itself. The basal ganglia notices that the only threat to the human survival is now it. It's no surprise to me. I am my own worst enemy. With my hands wrapped around my throat, in a room alone, waiting for somebody to come take them off finally. Because through these societal shame programs that made somebody believe that there was anything hidden or secret within the midst of divinity that Mother Earth doesn't already see, everything you could possibly do or be, that every human doesn't hold the capacity for all of what you thought was a mistake or evil or any disgusting predatory or prey involuntary responses of this animal. No, Mother Earth sees it all. It's all already been exposed. Anything that a human can do as a reactionary response to an emotion. This is why we've already bridged beyond the linear time aspect of things, because you realize when you are just the mirage of those involuntary responses, there is no timeline to orient yourself in when you could die at any moment. Allowing that death right now. Allow somebody to see beyond the vanity of their survival story. Allow somebody to see beyond the need to cling on to these resources because of this primordial fear of extinction that the human continues its cyclical loops in. You can see that everything was always a resource, that you are safe in this moment, that you don't need a specific sanctuary of circumstances. Yes, perhaps it would be a little bit wise to take yourself out of the scenario where in which your body is being used for commodity, for transaction, for a beast mammon system of hierarchies wherein which the employers would rather see you die than take care of any of your internal divinity. Of course, it would be helpful to take the nervous system away from these perceived societal demands and realize its own Eden, and realize that it can breathe with that inner child that is this nervous system, and realize that the inner child is you always, and you're never going to ascend further than what that kid is taught. So are you going to have the willingness, the responsibility and authority to be that parent for yourself, to be that parent for the world? I know that sounds like a big responsibility, but you are the world. So it's the littlest responsibility that you could possibly take. It's just going from 49% effort to 51, baby. That's it. Planet 51. That's all we are, as some aliens out here. Understanding this parental need for yourself is true ascension. People will legitimately kill themselves over these false linguistic programs of regret, believing that they needed to have some sort of anchored lineage of strength and pride in this linear time, severing themselves from the Most High, from their connection to their higher self, whatever you want to call any streamline of consciousness that allows you to feel the purpose of your infinity in the midst of this entropy, that allows you to feel what you can actually bring about in this temporary glyph. To see beyond a linguistic, confined, box-like matrix. To allow that concealment, that secrecy, that belief that you aren't already everything, which is the only thing that allows the regret to fester, to hold the mammal in its scarcity, to choose authority instead of denial and slavery plus. Regret is powerful to the extent that you give it that power. I find myself asking regret, hey regret, what do you regret? Simply because you're just a linguistic program. Your liveliness, the amount that I let my body get into these loops of compulsion, which only start because there was ever a thought that I needed to be in a position that was better than this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and accept the confines of being the scared, lonely animal who believes that it needs to regulate itself because of the very programs of linguistic linear time and fucking scarcity that are playing. Dude, you see the big trap? You see the big loop? It's crazy. It's baffling. Social mammals baffle me. Release the brace. Allow the kid to ascend to his higher self. There is no thought to dwell when thoughts in and of themselves only arise at the abandonment of the breath. So rest. You have no right to regret. The truth is that unless you walk side by side with death in what you perceive as this life, you will always have a regret on your deathbed. And speaking of life and death, hello, I am. Subscribe.